Before we start, let's take a deeper breath. Like really, take a deep breath. And pay attention to how it feels. Pay attention to that. This is mindfulness. The most powerful simple habit to acquire in 2025. And that is to take you off living on autopilot. And this is my guide to being mindful for healing. Healing for being mindful is an automatic function of it. And my experience with it obligates me to share it with you. That is how powerful it is. But what is it even? Mindfulness is the non-judgmental awareness of the present moment of consciousness. So simple, yet it is so effortful to actually bring into practice. And you know it, especially if you have tried meditating before, that it is really hard to keep your awareness on your breath, on the sensations, or anything truly in particular. The mind really likes to wander to a variety of places when you're trying to focus on your breath. This is the resistance to mindfulness. It is like exercising in the gym. It is the resistance training for being non-judgmentally aware in the present moment. That is what it takes. But we can let it be and just observe them. Whether they be feelings, thoughts, we can let them come and go. Come and go. And by this, we have grown in our mindfulness skill, our ability to be completely in the present. The benefits of this practice are incredibly numerous, from basically all the mental health conditions to all the physical conditions. It does not solve them, but it certainly alleviates a lot of it. That is from the symptom reductions of anxiety, depression, pain, and also very many heart arrhythmias. And not just to get rid of negative symptoms, but also to enhance us. It is good for cognitive enhancement, emotional regulation enhancement. It increases our cognitive ability and positive effect. Good vibes. It is quite incredible as a practice of its own. Just look at all these benefits. Aren't you right now grabbing yourself to meditate? The list of benefits associated with the practice of mindfulness is quite an extensive list. Pause if you want to read it all, by the way. But what I ask of you is to forget all of this. Forget all of the benefits of mindfulness. And just be and do nothing. That is mindfulness. Do it for itself, expecting no reward from it. You don't have to like doing it, you just have to do it. It is of this nature that if you do it for the benefits, striving for the benefits, you're not going to gain the benefits. The benefits just happen without striving for them. That is the first quality of mindfulness. When we are mindful, we are not trying to achieve anything with it. We are not trying to do anything with it. Saying that we are doing mindfulness is also kind of inaccurate, because we are just being mindful. It is pure being. You might think that it is so simple and that you're doing it all the time, but not really. It's a really effortful and cognitively challenging thing to do. It is like exercise in a way. It is really hard to do nothing. Think about it. When we think that we are doing nothing, we are actually doing a lot of things. We are thinking, we are fidgeting, we are anticipating the future, or we are reminiscing about the past. It is really hard for humans to actually just do nothing. And the practice of being is mindfulness. It takes practice, especially in this time-scarce era of modernity. This is unhealthy, and it leads to disease and sickness and pain, and just simply being mindless, being unaware of what is happening right by us. That is why the practice of mindfulness could be done for its own sake, without thinking about any of these benefits. Wouldn't you just want to be more aware? That's a pretty good benefit on its own. The body is healthy if we are mindful. A lot of these modern diseases are because we are so time scarce and stressed about it. It is stress management. The body can heal itself. Mindfulness is a replenishing activity. It isn't unproductive in this way, especially when we look at the productivity benefits of it. But even discounting them, it has a healing function to it, which we are ignoring by constantly just doing. This healing is brought about by the non-judgmental acceptance of the symptoms themselves, as well as our awareness of them. We are judgmental by our very nature, and simply accepting things is a lot harder than you would think. We are growing in our ability to do that by mindfulness practice. This isn't just an abstract philosophical assertion without any practical utilization of it. As I have said, this way of being has many practical benefits for our heart health, for our mental health, and for our physical health as well. We are experiencing the practical consequences of non-acceptance and judgment on a day-to-day basis. And you know that exactly. With mindfulness, we can learn to let go and be non-attached to things themselves. Because our attachment to things is what causes a lot of our suffering on its own. We let go of what should be with our body, with our emotions, and just accept what is. Not saying that we should resign ourselves. Mindfulness is not resignation. It is awareness. We shouldn't passively exist as a consequence of mindfulness. We can still hold preferences. Mindfulness is about more. It is the awareness of our judgments as judgments. It is the awareness of our thoughts as thoughts. It is the awareness of our feelings as feelings. It doesn't prescribe any morality. Of course, some of the mindfulness practices themselves have a root in Buddhist philosophy. But we don't have to assent to any metaphysic in order for us to try meditation, in order for us to benefit from it. The practice of mindfulness is not religious on its own. I would like to emphasize this point, because this is a roadblock for people trying mindfulness. The awareness, the non-judgmental awareness of the present moment of consciousness is not a religious practice. Turning off autopilot and just being aware of our thoughts, our behaviors, and our feelings is not a religious practice. It is liberating. Becoming aware of things in themselves and the biases is hard starting off, and it does take continual practice in order for us to grow in our mindfulness. Don't be disappointed if the beginner's mind idea is really hard to put into practice. The idea that we should approach things as if they were new and we have never seen them before. Just observe the feelings of frustration when you are trying mindfulness. Just simply being aware of it is the practice of mindfulness. Being aware of what you're currently feeling and also detaching from them as they are not you, they just happen to you. We are not our sensations. We are not our feelings. We are not our thoughts. And the recognition of that is mindfulness. It is also being trusting and patient with ourselves and others. We learn to trust the symptoms of our body because they might be telling us something that is valuable. We can learn to trust our emotions, not just suppress them, because they might be giving us valuable feedback. There is no reason to be anxious about failing at mindfulness. Just also be aware of the feeling of frustration about not being good at mindfulness. Everybody has to start somewhere. Patience is one of the qualities of mindfulness as well because of this. Mindfulness gives us the ability to respond to our feelings rather than react to them. There is quite a difference between those two. Reacting is like identification and attachment to the feelings themselves, but responding is non-identification and non-attachment to the feelings, to the thoughts, and to the behaviors themselves. There is an ontological difference here once you start observing your thoughts. It is just like how one is a political pundit, one is politics themselves, whilst the other is a journalist, trying to observe things non-judgmentally, bringing awareness to it. Mindfulness is like being your own journalist or being your own psychotherapist in some way. Of course, it's not a replacement for it. It is stating the facts, observing them, not taking sides, approaching things with a beginner's mind, with patience and trusting the process. We are all journalists and reporters for our behaviors, thoughts, and feelings. Just some of us are biased journalists, taking sides, identifying with them, being know-it-alls, always in a hurry and distrusting our own feelings and the feelings of others. We exist on a spectrum in between these. Mindfulness is just tipping us towards one side of the spectrum. The more we practice mindfulness, the more we grow in our mindfulness skill of it. Every time that we bring our thoughts back, it's like one XP added to our mindfulness skill, or it is like one rep of bicep curls. And in advancing our mindfulness skill, we become more generous, gentle, and grateful. There are specific meditations to foster those specific skills on their own. But these are the natural consequences of being mindfully aware. These are the natural consequences of being and not doing. And we do that effortfully and consciously. It comes naturally after we have practiced for a long time. And with specific practice, we can also enhance our empathy and loving kindness abilities as well. As I said, there are specific practices for those as well. All of these values are practiced within mindfulness. They are like the principles of mindfulness, with a lot of them having a specific meditation type attached to them. There are different types of mindfulness practices for different types of people. And I would like to present you with the official mindfulness-based stress reduction program, the one that has been developed by Jon Kabat-Zinn, the man who popularized the practice of mindfulness in the West. So let's go to the source of it for efficient practice. The three main practices within the stress clinic, the program, are the sitting meditation, the one that you most likely know about as well, the body scan method, as well as yoga. These are the three main mindfulness practices within the clinic. This is the exact schedule of the mindfulness-based stress reduction program for 8 weeks. 45 to 1 hour a day for 6 days per week. Starting off with around 20 minutes of body scanning and continuing with 20 to 25 minutes of sitting meditation. The sitting meditation is the most popular form of meditation. It is the focusing on the breath, sitting in a particular position, in an upright position, not controlling the breath, but observing it fully. And anytime that the mind might wander, it is a returning to the awareness of the breath. It is really simple, but quite hard. It is non-doing, just pure being. It's a good starting out point for starting out a meditation program. The next thing is body scanning. It is the process of working through the whole body, from the feet to the head, and from the head to the feet, observing each part of the body mindfully, and then breathing into places where we feel pain. There is also yoga nidra. Check out this video for starting out body scanning meditation. It is the acceptance of the sensations in the body, the non-judgmental awareness of them. Just be aware to not fall asleep.
As you exhale, imagine your lower body sinking.
A lot of people fall asleep during this. Being aware of the body parts and their situations on the body is a way that we can alleviate some symptoms of chronic pain. It may not solve it, and I have to emphasize this point, but bringing awareness to it has healing properties to it. We can imagine breathing into the area of pain and then letting it off in a hole at the top of the head. Some people are helped by this imagining of a hole at the top of the head. We can direct the breathing in our body. It is a slow process by which we might gain insight into the nature of our feelings, into the nature of our behaviors, and into the nature of our pain. And the third is yoga. It is basically stretching with awareness of breathing. Don't think anything spiritual about it. There is mantra yoga, which is spiritual, but just being aware of the breathing whilst doing these stretches progressively. To be honest, I don't do this a lot, but I exercise mindfully, or at least I try to. There is a mind-body connection when it comes to building muscle, so I try to focus on that one. There's an element of movement in this mindfulness practice, so the benefits are that much greater. It can be done by anybody, even with chronic pain, if limited in its scope. Don't try to overexert yourself. Leave the overexertion to me. These are the basics of mindfulness practice Don't forget to do them, by the way. But apart from them, any activity can be a mindful activity if we pay active attention to them. For example, there is compassion meditation, focusing on our unity with other people, on empathy as well. There is forgiveness meditation, where we visualize another person who has hurt us and have a conversation of forgiveness with them. And there is also loving kindness meditation, which helps us increase our positive affect, but also improve our relationships by sending good wishes, first to ourselves, then to our loved ones, then to somebody neutral, then to somebody who we might not like, then to all people, and then to all beings. Then expanding our awareness to the whole planet, then to the whole solar system, then to the whole galactic supercluster, and so on and so forth. It is an exercise in good vibes, as the studies prove it. We can also do the walking meditation, which still surprises me how they do it in the stress clinic with many people. It is just an awareness of our walking when we are walking. Do it first in a place where you are isolated from other people, because it might look weird for other people to see you doing that outside. These are the instructions to do the walking meditation. It is a paying of attention to the sensations of walking, to the sights outside, and to our feelings inside. Mindfulness could be brought to any activity. The other one that they do at the stress clinic is mindful eating, or just eating a raisin and engaging all of the senses with one raisin. Just mindfully eating that raisin. Try it out. It's quite an awesome practice to try out. And it's really simple as well. Instead of rushing the eating, we observe the texture, the taste, everything of the food that we are eating. The feelings of chewing, just slowly, mindfully eating the food itself. Savoring each and every moment of eating itself. It can feel extremely boring, by the way, but it is worth it for the growth of our mindfulness skill. The boredom itself is just another thing that popped up in consciousness. We don't have to react to it, but we can respond to it by taking a deeper breath. And if you struggle with that idea, then you can just observe that and see it. It's all detaching from the ideas and thoughts themselves. I am not a meditation teacher, but this crispy voice is epic. The system of mindfulness can be applied to anything. Just think of any activity that you could apply mindfulness to, and there you go, you have one. Like, for example, a mindful nature walk, just being aware of the sights of nature, or mindfully fighting other people on the street. Another thing for it is just a grounding exercise, which can help prevent a panic attack. If we can name 5 things that we can see, 4 things that we can touch, 3 things that we can hear, 2 things that we can smell, and 1 thing that we can taste. All of these techniques are based on mindfulness. And a lot of therapies are as well, when you think about it. Psychodynamic theory, bringing the unconscious to the conscious. That sounds very mindful of you, Mr. Freud. Cognitive behavioral therapy, with its ideas about spotting behaviors and cognitions. Mindfulness. Acceptance and commitment therapy. That idea sounds very, very mindful of you. How about dialectical behavior therapy? Or basically any therapies are out there. They are very much focused on mindful awareness of our thoughts, behaviors, and feelings. It's a way of being, not just a funky habit. But it is a very good habit, as demonstrated by this vast list of benefits. They also practice Aikido in the stress clinic, which is a good metaphor for how we deal with life. Here's an explanation for that. We can bring it to any activity. Just pick any of your habits and you can just bring mindfulness to that. And notice things that you have never noticed before. Spotting the small miracles of life. It could be washing our teeth, taking out the trash, fighting on the streets as well, programming, editing, or just recording a YouTube video. Whatever we are, we can be there totally. It just takes acting on it. As I said, you don't have to like it, you just have to do it. How about that? Pick one from this list of mindfulness activities and just try it out for 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. Start small. And if you think that that is too much, Do it for 1 minute. Make the first step small enough so that you actually do it. That is of major importance here. This practice can slowly transform your life by just simply noticing things, noticing anxious thoughts for anxiety, or noticing depressed thoughts for depression, noticing the chronic pain itself for the pain, noticing your heartbeat when it is beating. Wouldn't you like to notice more things in life? Do meditation for that. It isn't unproductive. We can all take time out of our very busy doing in order to just be sometimes. That is quite hard. I'm not gonna say that it is easy. Sometimes I struggle with it, skipping meditation sessions here and there. We can also be aware of that and notice the thoughts that are associated with it. We may start for the benefits of mindfulness, but as I said, we can just continue because it's intrinsically rewarding to be in the present. We can start with any clear purpose, but that clear purpose is exactly why it is so valuable. Mindfulness practices help us increase our sense of coherence, of purpose in life, especially with this particular mindfulness practice. Within a sitting session, we can just ask the question, what is my way? And exist within that question. We're not waiting for any response or answer, just exist within that question. Ask the question, not expecting any response. We can just be in this question. Meditation helps us just be. Meditation helps us become more purposeful without intending to. It helps us better our health behaviors as well. And it does that without any intention of doing it. Just do nothing and your purpose becomes clear, as the wise people once said. Download Medito, the meditation application, in order to cement this habit. There are many different types of meditations within that application that you can try, and it can explain it to a greater extent than I can. All of these meditations are within it. For more on the way itself, join our school community, the Purpose School. It's the top link in the description. Click and watch the video on the screen, and remember to waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be, and just be one. Now breathe out. I forgot to say that.